Cadre. Gary Knorr decided to nominate me for this challenge with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, +1, and then I'm going to add another +1 on mine. So let's start just taking a look at my top 5, or at least my 5 most interesting soaps. I don't know if I want to say top 5 because gosh, they're all so good. It's really more a matter that a lot of these I rank the same. It's just that they're different. But let's just start with what is kind of my number one anyway, and that's going to be Tallow and Steel. Pretty much anything from there, if I like the scent, Tallow and Steel is my go-to brand by far. It just really agrees with my face. I like the way it lathers. It's not too this, it's not too that, if that makes any sense to you. Some of the other soaps in here kind of lean one way or the other, and for me, Tallow and Steel, it's kind of the baseline artisanal soap for me. This one is the limited edition of Yakushima. Ryan has made 2 Japanese-based soaps. There's Kyoto, which I'm just finishing up now, and gosh, I love it. Yakushima, I think I might even love more. Just taking a whiff of it. I've only actually used it a couple of times so far. One of the reasons I like Tallow and Steel scents, though I know they're really divisive for people because they don't smell like colognes or anything like that at all. It's almost the polar opposite of that. But Ryan's philosophy is with soap scents is a lot of them are what he calls atmospheric, that they evoke the smell or vibe or feeling of a place. And for me with soaps, I like that more than a cologne scent that's lingering all day. I like something that kind of sits in the background, so when I put other scents on top of it, they make more sense together, I guess. And I find with soaps that if they're like too bright, too cologne-y, I can burn out on them quicker. Whereas the more earthy, atmospheric type of scents, I just don't get tired of them. That was definitely the case with Kyoto. I'm sure it'll be the case with this. My all-time number 1 favorite go-to out of the line that you can always get is West Indies, and that's just the same thing. I just don't get tired of that scent, and it agrees with me so well. So let's move on. Maybe performance-wise, other than skincare, and that's where for me Tallow and Steel almost always is the winner. And it's great with the other properties, but performance isn't, like slickness especially isn't necessarily super great on it, but it's more than good enough for me. But performance-wise, my probably most outstanding soap has been this Barrister & Mann Behold the What's Is. The smell is kind of a tangerine, or scent. It's a tangerine-y thing, so I haven't actually used it a while now that we're in the summer, or now that we're in the winter, because it's so summery. But when I was learning straight, this was the only soap that could get me through that first pass. So I tried every soap in the din, and every one, it's like, all right, we just kind of hang up. But when I used this, there was just something magic about it. And what's interesting, this is, I believe, the new Excelsior base. I hope I'm getting that right. I kind of mix all the terminology with Barrister & Mann. But my local shave buddy, Kale, he has Vespers, which is the same base. When we did a swap for a few weeks, he had this and I had the Vespers. Vespers just doesn't perform like this. I don't know why. So this particular batch was magical. It's, yeah, absolute top, number 1 notch performance. Next, I want to highlight a couple of the Shaving Cadre's favorite vendor by far, and absolutely deservedly so, and that's going to be CBL. My personal number one that I just love the scent on this stuff. Whatever is said about Cologne, although I don't really find this Cologne, it's this California Sunrise, which Chris has said he's based on Amouage Sunshine Man. But my gosh, this is lovely. Chris, if you happen to be watching this, really make more of this. It's just phenomenal, and it was a very small run. Again, I let Kale smell this stuff, and he immediately wanted to take it, and I said, "Sorry, dude, I will not loan this out because it was only a one run, and I purposely don't use it a whole lot because I just want it to last." I love this stuff. Performance, absolutely stellar, but you guys already know CBL, so there's not much point in talking on that. The second CBL, I just feel so privileged that Chris gave this to me. He was my Rudolph buddy this year. The bowl alone is totally worth it, but this is, I believe, a custom scent based on the original Yardley lavender. It just smells lovely, and it really works with the base. And I have to say, I think this is a tonsorial base, and sorry, Chris, I don't remember the name of this one. I'm pretty bad at remembering all the terminologies. But I think I actually like the tonsorial a little bit better, which surprised me. The face feel, the post face feel, I just used it this morning since I'm doing it the only shave with this soap for the month. I'm using this guy. The post is way better than I expected, which I didn't expect from a hard soap because I never had a hard soap that had good post for me. But this stuff is really great stuff. My last soap is going to be from Grooming Department, Cascade. I've got two grooming departments. This one and the Frankenlime one, which are in two different bases. And again, he's got so many bases, I don't remember all of them, but reading here, this is the Luso base, and I rate it just slightly above the other base. Again, I'm just going to say that the performance on this stuff is phenomenal, and the feel of the soap is absolutely unique. So performance-wise, like if I was going to have to rate these two, I would put them neck and neck, maybe slightly higher on this. But the uniqueness of this makes it maybe more fun to use on occasion. It just doesn't feel like any other soap I've tried. Whereas Barrister Man, this feels like artisanal soap to me, and I don't mean that in any kind of pejorative way at all. It's this lovely, great soap. This is absolutely unique, and almost feels like when I use it, what it reminds me of, though it kind of sounds weird, is latex spackle. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it any more than that. Maybe if I were to add one further final category to these soaps, and I've kind of got them stacked already like this in terms of feel. This is utterly unique, has that latexy feel. Chris's CBL soaps, to me, I think he said he's based them on Williams, and I totally believe that, because they just feel like what I would think of as old-fashioned soap. And these two guys, the Barrister Man and Tello and Steele, to me, they are what I think of as how artisanal soaps feel. Okay, so I'm going to kind of speed up from there. I spent quite a bit of time on the soaps. Let me move into the top aftershaves. My number one top, I love Mersol. It's just alcohol-based aftershave. Nothing special, no extra ingredients added. But the thing is, it just feels so dang clean compared to any other one I've used. I've got all of them, but the one I picked, and you can see I've used it quite a bit, is the Don Carlos, which is sort of a woody scent. And I picked this one mostly because I just think it's the least well known, but it's wonderful stuff. My number two, which I use mostly in the winter because it's got a bit of castor oil added to it. But for classic aftershaves, Floyd is my number one top. It was really hard to pick. I've got the Amber, Vigoroso, and the blue in this big bottle with the sprayer. Absolutely fabulous stuff. For me, Floyd is the definition of classic aftershave. And then finally, thirdly, I'm gonna go with Tallow & Steel's Matching Yakushima. I have many of these, and basically the way I use them is I'll put my alcohol, which is usually either Floyd or Mersol, and then I'll put this on top because it has no alcohol. And it's mostly about the witch hazel and a few other goodies that make it a real good face food type of a thing. I don't do it every day, to be honest. These guys, every day, unless it's a special occasion. I happen to go with a D.R. Harris sandalwood, which it's sandalwood, but it's really, really camphory sandalwood. So if you're looking for, like, I think Art of Shave, for example, type of sandalwood, you'll hate this stuff. But if you like a camphory, really old school India vibe sandalwood, this is the stuff. And then I am going to bring in a fifth just for honorable mention, which is Williams Aqua Velva. And the reason I'm bringing that up is my good friend in the U.S., he's a big Aqua Velva guy as well, and he gave me a bottle of the U.S. stuff. And my God, we went to Greece this year, and I brought it with me, the U.S. stuff. At the end of the week, I just left the bottle because it just smells chemically compared to this stuff. So if you're an Aqua Velva guy, and it's worth it to you to make that extra leap if you're in the U.S. and try to find the Williams, do it. It is really way better in my opinion. Okay, on to three brushes. This is by far my number one brush. I always, ever since I first saw Paladin brushes, I thought, man, those things are fantastic. Way out of my league. I'm never going to be able to buy one. Plus, they won't send to me here in Finland. But I kept seeing that Paladin thread on the forum. And the last time I went to the States, I just said, Helena, please, can I get one of these brushes? And she was nice enough to let me, because, you know, at that price, I do feel like it's the family has to say yes to it. I'm not just going to go out and do it. And I loved it so much. The second I put it on my face, I just felt, this is what a shave brush is supposed to feel like. One of the reasons I was really enamored with the latest batch is the loft is a little bit shorter, and I really like a dense brush with a lot of scrub to it. And this is just, the scrub on this thing is just phenomenal with absolutely zero scritch whatsoever. It's got wonderful gel tips. It's got that funky feeling when it's dry, when they have gel tips, that's kind of crinkly. Anyway, I love this brush. This is the second one I got, which is the Winston. For our anniversary, I bought for the first time in the 10 years I've known my wife, I bought her a bottle of fancy perfume. Again, thanks to you guys kind of triggering the whole scent thing. And then in turn, she wound up getting me this, which was the one I said to myself that if they come out with a Winston and this anthracite, I think they call it, I am going to pull the trigger on it. And lo and behold, as it was our anniversary, this popped up and my wife got it for me, and I just love the thing. My number 2 brush I just got from Chris Lindsay, again as part of the deal with the Rudolph. And I'll tell you, I've been completely off of synthetic since I got these Badgers. But I have always, every time I've seen a picture of this style of handle, I've always loved it, and I was just so pleasantly surprised to see it in the package. And he restored it and put in, which I'm going to assume is a cashmere synthetic knot in it. But by golly, this knot is just wonderful, and it suits this brush so well that it's actually got me interested in using the scents again. So huge thanks again to Chris Lindsay for these 2 things. They really are super special to me. I can't say enough. My 3rd brush is a Zenith, what they call, I believe, dark synthetic. And though I was just saying I like short lofts, I like them except for in this barbershop talls type of handle, where somehow the long lofts really work for me. And I think of my other synthetics, I just don't have a ton of brushes, to be honest. All the others are AP Shavecos, except for one Mühle, which I absolutely hate. If this were our top 2 worst brushes, I'd have brought that one out. But I thought I'd bring this one up because it's not super commonly seen. The feel of the handle of this thing is actually really wonderful. I don't know what he's made it of, but obviously it isn't ebonite, but it almost feels like ebonite. It feels sticky in the hands, which is wonderful when it's when you're shaving, because it does not get slippery at all. And there's something about the shape. It just fits my hand perfectly, either holding it up here, which isn't always so easy when you're shaving to hold a brush here once it gets slippery, but it also works really good here when you're doing that traditional barber style where you're a little bit gripping up on the actual fibers. So I thought I'd just bring this one to your attention. Really great stuff and not too commonly seen. Apparently they also make one of the best bore knots. If I ever try one, it's going to be a Zenith. All right, on to 2 razors. Gosh, this was hard. I decided not even to bring my straights into the equation because I knew I would ramble on too long. So I don't know that this is really my best shaver, but I gotta say it's the one I enjoy to shave with the most, and this is Gillette New, or rather a Gillette Old Type, that a friend of mine turned me on to an auction on a local auction site for an RFB, which was new old stock, believe it or not, and I got it for 20 euros, which is ridiculous. And then the guy I bought it from, like a week later, he sent me an email and said, "Hey, are you interested in this one I just found?" And it was this old type, which I don't think was quite new old stock, but it looked like if it had been used, it maybe only been used like a half a dozen times in its life. And I figured he offered it for the same price for 20 euros, and I just said, yeah, I'll take it. Again, it came in the cardboard box with the real box inside. And I think he got it from his grandfather who had passed away, so that he was auctioning or doing an estate sale for the family. So that's why he had these. I suppose his grandfather worked for a car dealer, because this has, I don't know if you can see it, but Goodyear engraved on the top. but there's something about the feel of this in my hand that I absolutely love. So it's my favorite shaver, though it doesn't necessarily happen to be my closest shaver. And then I just want to counter that, since this fat tip Grande is based on the old type with the Fatip. Also, because I just don't think there are Fatip, because I don't think it's going to come up a whole lot. But my gosh, honestly, I think if I'm going to tell somebody to get their first razor that's easy to find, in fact, I have many times. The people I have turned on to shaving, I've bought all of them Fatip, either the Grande or the Gentile. They're just great out of the gate razors. I don't know why they have a reputation for being aggressive. I do not find them aggressive at all, especially the Gentile, but really this guy either. Okay, let me move on. Just a few more items here. The one is going to be for razor blades. And again, I went with one in my collection that's not as common. And in fact, I just put it in him this morning for my shave because I wanted to use it. I've only bought one tuck of these because they're pretty expensive. And that's the South African menorahs. But I gotta say, this is the smoothest, sharpest blade I have used by far. I haven't used it in a good 6 months. It was so noticeably smooth on my facial hair this morning. It really, truly felt like nothing. And I have fairly coarse hair. And I've only got one of these guys left. And after this morning shave, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get 100 of these. All right, so now for my plus ones. For fragrance, and I love you, Nurse Dave, for bringing this up, and I love the fact that the cadre that we've all kind of collectively been getting into fragrance together. My number one, and I only got a 10 ml bottle of this stuff, is Frederic Mall's Monsieur by Bruno Jovanovic. I've read reviews on that, and people say it's not well put together. I think it's utter nonsense. This is basically it's a Soliflor. It's basically patchouli, but it's not your hippie patchouli oil 60s type of patchouli, which personally I also love. I love patchouli in any form. This stuff is a dark, elegant, but definitely in your face patchouli. I only will put this on for special events, like if we're going to go to see a ballet or something like that. I want to put this on and I want to let people know, I guess, that I'm a dark, elegant type of a dude. I don't know, but I've got to say, of the fragrances I've tried, everything from the Frederic Malle line is special in the sense it just feels like the ingredients they use are a notch better than any of the others I've tried. The ones I've leaned towards tend to have been the Soliflors, but all of them have had that quality for me. But it also makes it that I don't want to wear them every day. They feel too special, and they're priced too special as well. Okay, let's go on to the last one. Since we've also been getting into pins, I want to show my number one pin, which is a Sailor Pro Gear Earth Edition pin. My wife has been getting me these every Christmas for the last number of years. And this is my absolute favorite of the line, the Pro Gear Earth. It's a semi-translucent brown with gold trim, and normally I do not like the gold trim, but on this pin, it just works so nicely. I love these, and if you guys ever feel like going a little bit further in your pin journey and getting something a little bit pricier, because these are definitely not on the cheap end, try any of the Sailors. The nibs on these things are absolutely special. That's all I can say. All right, I am sure this has gone on way longer than Gear Nor's video, but I don't do a lot of videos, so I figured I would talk a little bit more than usual. Thanks if you bore with me through the entire thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody else's. I guess the last thing I have to do on this is tag. So I'm only going to tag one person, not like Gear Nor, because I'm sure it's already getting hard to find people to tag. But for sure, if there's one dude on the forum who I want to see his stuff because everything he posts is absolutely phenomenal, it's Brew. So Brew, consider yourself tagged. Later on for our Shaving Cadre.